Yo, what up? I hope you're having a wonderful day. Hope everything's going great for you. I wanted to holler at you about cryptos that are backed by things. And let me tell you, I am not a fan of cryptos that are backed. I'll tell you why, man. So first of all, cryptocurrencies, they don't need to be backed. If they're, they should be something that solves a problem, that has some kind of use case, that has some kind of value for the coin, by itself, on its own. It doesn't need to be backed by anything. Bitcoin's not backed by anything. What gives Bitcoin the value is all the properties that make it great, but the fact that in order to use the network that's making Bitcoin great, then you got to use Bitcoin. You can't use anything else, right? So in order to take advantage of the decentralized properties, the most secure database on the planet, an immutable ledger, unconfiscatable funds, you got to use Bitcoin, right? You want to take advantage of smart contracts, the ability to store things on a blockchain and decentralized, system of data storage, interoperability of chains. You want Ethereum. That's why you buy Ethereum. You know what I'm saying? It's not because they're backed by anything. They have a specific use case, and in order to take advantage of that use case, you need to buy the coin. Okay, so look, here's my problem with backing things. I'm not saying that you can't back it, right? But those other cryptocurrencies that I talked about, the real cryptos, right? The dope ones, the ones people make money on, these things have a trustless attribute to them, right? Like, you don't have to trust anything or anybody. Specifically with Bitcoin. Let's just keep it to Bitcoin, right? Because we can make arguments about some of the other coins out there, but with Bitcoin, there's no argument. You don't have to trust anybody. The system just does what it does. You can verify all of it. You can verify the hash power. You can verify, the funds in an account. You can verify anything. You know what I mean? About the blockchain. It's verifiable. You don't need any trust for it. Okay. When you move from that, where you don't need to trust anything, to now I have to trust somebody, we have a problem. So for example, right? Let's say I have $100 in gold, and I create gold coin, and it's backed by the $100 in gold, right? So let's say I give out $100, 100 coins, 100 gold coins, and it represents this gold. So for example, I'd say, hey everybody, I've got this gold, and I created a cryptocurrency, and the cryptocurrency is backed by this gold, this $100 in gold. So I made 100 coins, and I'm selling these coins to you all for $1, right? There's got to be a lot of trust there. The reason why there's got to be a lot of trust is because I literally had $100 in gold, okay? I created out of thin air, out of nothing, magic internet money, I created $100, okay, of this crypto, this is gold coin crypto, and I sold it to you for your paper dollars. Yo, I could take that paper dollars, keep the gold in my pocket, and now go buy another, $100 worth of gold. And now I have $200 worth of gold. You guys have this fake internet money that's supposed to be backed by the gold in my pocket. And I've kept all the real assets, right? So there's a flaw in the thinking of people who want to buy something that's backed by something. There's a logistical flaw there. And the flaw is, I want to invest in a thing that's backed by a real asset. Why not just go buy the real asset? You can just go buy the real asset. Why buy the intermediary that's worth nothing? Right? So there's a flaw there. If you're like, you know what? I only want to buy assets that are backed by assets. You're not thinking straight, because you should just go buy the asset that's backing it, not the intermediary. Okay? So, that's one problem I have with backing things, is that I have to trust this guy not to go and take the gold that's back in the crypto and go and spend it or sell it or remove it and put it somewhere we don't know. And one day in the future, after we sold 10 million gold coins, we go and want to audit the vault. Now there's no gold there. And we're all like, dude, what happened to the gold? Now I only have the crypto. Well, is the crypto worth something? No, because it's backed by the gold. So if there's no gold there, then there's nothing to back the coin. Let's go to real estate, right? So there has to be a way to verify, if we're going to back something, there has to be a way to verify that the real asset is actually there. It's actually in the possession of the custodian for the real asset. Okay? And then 2, if you really want to put a trustless stamp on this crypto, we need to remove the decision-making capabilities of the person who is custodying the asset, right? So we have somebody who's custodying it, who's taking the responsibility of keeping the asset in their care, and we have a way to verify that the asset is there, right? The second thing I want to do is remove that person from making decisions on the asset, right? So it's one thing to keep track of it, but it's a whole nother thing to keep track of it and decide what you do with it. Now, it's just your gold. If you can keep track of it and monitor it, but you decide what to do with it, it's basically just yours. You know what I mean? So when we add in a decision-making component, an interface that allows a user to make decisions on the asset, now we're talking about a system that has some kind of backing, but also removes trust from the equation. So what does that system look like? All right, if it's gold, right? Let's say we purchased a mine like Carrot Bars, that whole debacle, which I'm not a fan of Carrot Bars. I'm an enemy of Carrot Bars. If there is, a mine out there and you want to create a cryptocurrency backed by the gold that's in the mine, then there's some details that need to be coughed up. Like, okay, how much does the tax on the property of the mine cost? Because that needs to get paid every year. Who is mining the gold and how much do they cost in equipment and raw materials and all that stuff, right? What's the cost of that? Staff. What's the cost of transporting the gold or refining the gold? You know what I mean? To get the highest, purest quality gold. There's a cost associated with that. These things have costs, right? What's the electricity bill on the mine? Because obviously they got to plug in their equipment somewhere. You know what I mean? It costs some kind of money. Like, these are questions that nobody asked at Carrot Bars. I don't know if anybody asked them, but if we're having somebody custody a mine of gold and a vault of gold, and I'm buying a cryptocurrency backed by the gold, these are details that should be divulged, because those operational costs are costing us, the investor as a whole, some money, right? So we should have details like, okay, the vault is accruing 0.01% of gold every day, right? On average. So as it's accruing that gold into the vault, that, my cryptocurrency should be gaining in that value, right? Let's say we go to real estate, all right, if I have let's say real estate coins backed by real estate. Okay, I paid you $1,000 for a real estate coin. Is it backed by real estate? No, we got to go buy the real estate. Okay, well, where is my $1,000 sitting until then? Where's the escrow account for that? Who's in charge of that escrow account? Who has decision-making capabilities on the escrow account where my $1,000 is sitting? Who's making the decision on which property to buy? You know what I'm saying? How do we know it's a good property? Am I buying your old beach house that's all broken down and run down and you can't sell it, and so now we're buying it through this coin? Is that what we're doing? Those are details I should know if that's what we're doing. Maybe it turns out to be a good deal, but at least maybe you should divulge those things to the shareholders of the coin. Who's the property manager? How are they making decisions on who to rent this property to? How much are we renting it for? How much money does it make per year, annually? What are the operational costs? What's the taxes on the property? Somebody's making all these decisions on a coin that's backed by real estate, but how do we know that the decisions that they're making are sound decisions? Number one, that they're qualified to make those decisions. Number two, and number three, why can't we just vote? Why can't you let us as a group of shareholders know the details and we do a round of voting? With cryptocurrency and blockchain, we can do what you can implement what's called a consensus algorithm, where the coin holders have a vote, and every coin has a vote. Every fraction of a coin has a fraction of a vote. And if you're holding coin, you have a vote. But these are things that could be done in the cryptocurrency space on coins that have a backing, right? And so, you know, when you have coins that are backed, if there's no mechanism to verify anything, and there's no interface to give the shareholders decision-making powers and remove decision-making powers from the custodian who's taking care of the asset, now we just made a coin and you sold it to me, and I have this worthless coin and you have my money. And if there's an asset, then you also have the asset too, right? And that's where, you know, miss me with all the backing stuff. There's no need to back anything in the first place. And number two, if we are going to back something, I have no idea of anything. I cannot verify any aspect of anything going on. You know, there's Tether, right? Tether is a stable coin, and we are unable to verify whether or not Tether is backed. And it's like the number 4 coin. I don't know what today's 24-hour volume is, or the circulating supply is, but it's in the billions, the many billions. You know what I mean? And Tether is just a coin that they could just make with magic internet money. But people in you know, the cryptocurrency trading space use Tether every day. People around the world are able to issue Tether to each other in lieu of US dollars. So you have, you know, somebody in whatever country where they can't trust their currency. The US dollar is held to high regard there, or at least higher than, you know, their currency. And they're not able to get their hands on US dollars, but they get their hands on USD Tether, and they use Tether as a US dollar intermediary in place of US dollars. You know what I'm saying? But we have no idea. That's the whole big thing. There's a whole big thing about it, bro. There's a whole big, huge scandal and speculation in the crypto space. Many arguments on Clubhouse about whether or not Tether is solvent, you know. But the thing is it provides a use case, right? Like it produces a 1-to-1 ratio for coins at any given moment on every market, to where I could sell out of the cryptocurrency, which is highly volatile, and step into a more stable, you know, coin, which is the US dollar, right? And because that exists, you know, a lot of people don't even care if it's backed or not. They're just using it for the use case that it has, right? And that's Tether, bro. That's Tether. So, you know, when it comes to backing it with gold or real estate or something, you know, you need to come with some stuff. You know what I'm saying? You need to come with some juice. There got to be a way for me to verify, and I got to be able to remove me having to trust you from the equation. And so that's why things that are backed by things, it's not for me. Not yet, anyway. You know, I would love to see a coin that has a mechanism for verification and an interface for decision making for the shareholders. I would love to see that. I would buy a ton of that coin, you know, if it's backed by, you know, something real. Like, I wouldn't even buy a gold-backed coin. I would just buy the gold. But if it's something like real estate where, you know, I got to shell out 50 grand, 100 grand, 200 grand, 500 grand in order to, you know, buy into that, then I would go for a mechanism and an interface that does that. I have not seen any coin that does that. There's no coin out there yet that does that. So whatever coin that you're thinking about, I know that there's 20 plus real estate backed coins that are, you know, circulating the interwebs. They do not do that. There's nothing that does that. I looked into those. It's not there. But if there was a coin that did that, that would be great. You'd make a lot of money, because now I could take $1,000, $5,000, $10,000. I could throw it into a property. You know, if we're buying, you know, this COVID compliant McDonald's, you know what I'm saying, where you could dine there, but it's open air, I don't know, whatever, right? And that was put on the blockchain. I'd buy that. You That'd be, to me, that makes sense. That'd be a moneymaker. But I wouldn't buy the whole thing because I'd have to cough up, to buy a McDonald's is like $2 million, right? And cash that, it have to be liquid, and you gotta have to own 2 restaurants before that, and you gotta go to burger school. That's too much for me. I want to throw 1,000 in it and get a piece of the revenue. You know what I'm saying? Something like that, right? Like, if there was a mechanism for verifying that, and if there was an interface that removed decision making and used the consensus algorithm for the shareholders to vote, you got my $1,000. Let's go. You know what I mean? But until then, like, nah, I'm not touching that. So yeah, just wanted to make this video to clear up. Hope this added value to the way you make decisions on what coin to buy. Look, man, whatever floats your boat, buy whatever you want. You know what I mean? Just, I will say I told you so. I am an I told you soer, and I will say I told you so if it doesn't work out. But yeah, man, hope this was helpful. Holla at me if you got any questions. Argue with me in the comments or DMs or whatever. Get at me. I'm here. Love you. Peace.